is Eric Kimondo, and help me to specially welcome back to the show for episode 2, Amos Wambu, on the topic of unveiling the secrets of land buying in Kenya. Part 2, due to public demand. Oh wow, last time it blew up and went over the roof. People have so many questions. And we thank you for coming in today, that you are going to be able to answer much of the feedback that we got from the viewer. But for now, karibu sana Interactive TV Studios. Say hi to our viewers, even as you tell us also about your new venture at the stakeholders of real estate owners in Kenya. Karibu.
Thank you so much, Eric. Yes, as you have said, Eric, we have a solution that now have come to both the realtors and also the buyers, which we are calling the lesser real estate of stakeholders, where I am the vice secretary of the group, and we are saying now, not again will people be conned their money, because we are offering solution, because we have brought all the real estate players, whereby we know one another, we are regulating one another, we are also working with the government, we have policies, we have a constitution, and therefore I can surely and tell you, be confident now that you will be investing in the right companies, number one, and also no more fear that you can lose your investments. Yes.
Wow. Asante sana.
Thank you.
People loved your episode so much last time because of your openness.
Yes.
That even as a real estate developer, you've also lost some investment in money because of a decision that went bad. And we can resonate with that. Na tunashukuru sana for your openness. Just before we get to the multitude of questions that we have today, laying context on this one, just for someone that is watching in for the first time, what inspired you to get into the world of real estate?
Eric, that's a good question. It begins early. I want to say that it was either by default or by design. I meet myself in real estate, because before I began what I'm doing now, running the company Choosing Soil Limited, where I am the CEO, I have been in real estate for 4 years. So I studied the market, I got experience, and I found there are spaces, there are gaps and vacuums in that sector. And so the moment I was thinking, what next? As a man, what next? Because I wanted to come out of employment. So I was thinking, what can I do? Where can I start? Just to make sure there is a way forward for every man. And that is when I knew I would need to fill a gap in the real estate, whereby there was a challenges of documentation, there was a challenges of getting the right buying right. And so I decided, if the only thing I can do it is just to fill this gap, I knew I have the answer. I knew the secrets, and that is what inspired me. And so in the year 2019, that is when we began. Unfortunately, COVID comes in, and we closed the doors because some of the areas that we were selling were restricted. So we had no option. We went through for a while, and then we came back. So we were trying to play the cat and mouse, the game, just to see whereby we can survive, because we had to survive at that time, because people were still buying. What the statistic came out after, if there is the highest growth that have ever happened, if there is the major development that came in, it is during COVID, because every person who maybe those people who had not bought and they were renting, they in a way they were stabilized, and they felt that their life was at stake, and therefore they were looking for something to buy, somewhere to secure their family and their life. And that is when there was a move and a very boom buying of property during that time. So I can say, in this case, COVID came, and it was a blessing to us and to even the investors.
Yes. Wow, amazing. At what point in your point in the industry that you got into real estate, would you say it was a pivotal moment? That one sweet deal that cemented, and you are like, wow, huku, and this is my place now.
I think I can very fast. I can give to. One day I had a friend who always is a realtor but based in Thika. He's my friend. So by that time I was trying to open a small project around Kagudo Road, somewhere we call Kantaf. But I have been trying to push this project. And so for him, he wanted to come and just know the area, just familiarize himself with the area, because he had some small interest. So he called me one day and requested me, why can't you take me to your project? We just go, view, see, and just make sure I know the place. And I can see, maybe I can get inspired and buy something. And so that day, I woke up and I was not busy. So I decided to join. I called him to join me so that we can just tour the area. And without knowing, without any plan, without nothing, we went down to where the project was, because it's 2 kilometers away from the main road. We just entered. We talked 1, 2, 3 things, because there is nothing to see. There was no development. It was just a bare land. And then I told him of why I bought this area and what I'm seeing in the future. So eventually, as we were coming back now to where we were joining the tarmac road, we found 2 ladies who were standing there. And by I don't know what happened, we assumed these are buyers, because how they were standing and they were looking at the billboard. And let me tell you, Eric, our billboard was the smallest because there were so bigger players there, and so they had this massive billboard. So because of I was not even sure, and I was feeling small, I had put also like a small billboard. And so when we approached them, my guy called. He was the one who was driving. So we said, "I'm Hanu Wanunuzi." So we approached them. We said, "By the way, we are the one who are selling those projects," because they were taking some numbers on those billboards. And we don't know which one. So we assumed they are looking at our billboard. And so we asked them, "We are the people who are selling them." So they asked us, "Where?" "Down there." So what do we do? They say, "Why can't we view them now?" And it was around 3. So we took them, let's go back. Actually, that's where we are coming from. So they had their own means. So we follow each other down there. So they viewed the plots, and so they were like, "How much are you selling?" And so we gave them all the full information. And since they have never, something like that have never happened before, so even then they were like, "Are you sure those are the real owners of that land?" So they told us, "Tomorrow, come with the title, come with the agreement of the owner. At least we can have an evidence, or if to make sure you are the owners of that land." And for sure, the next day they called me. We met at Roy. Of course, I'm alone now. I met them at Roy, and so they verified. So for the whole night, they were checking on us. Who are these people? You saw them calling themselves Choosing Soil. They Googled us. They went to the Facebook. They saw the run. So as I was coming, they already knew who I was. And when we launched that project, and I want to tell you, when I was waking up out of that city, I woke up with a check of 4 crores.
Wow.
So that was very exciting, because that was a client where I had not spent any coin to get them, because market. Another factor that is that is costly in this industry, it is marketing, and I know we will come to there. But I had not spent even a coin.
Wow.
But by God's way, we bounced into a client who was not, maybe he was not even ready to buy from us. And you see, he had not seen us. He had not heard about us. But when we had that confidence to approach them, because again, also when you have something genuine, when you have something that is legit, you are so proud to speak of it. You can tell anybody, "I'm selling this parcel of land in this and this place at this amount." So I think I was a very happy man, and I want to tell you, even today, those clients, they have bought more and more properties.
Wow.
So that was very exciting.
Wow.
Yes.
You said there are 2. That was one, the other one.
The other one is the same rand. I think that rand was special in a way because there was a time that we were very low and very low in terms of cash flow. Yeah. So when you buy a rand, you prepare, you do everything. Sometimes if you don't have more cash to continue, sometimes you wait first, you sell something so that you can now continue with the flow. And so that time we had already prepared that the whole land. We have beacon, we have put fences and like everything. And so we had no other amount in our accounts. And so this one, because of the small billboard, I don't know what was happening with that small billboard. There was a client who called us because we had our number there, though small, but it was there. So he called us. He was a gentleman, and he talked with one of our ladies in the office. And so they agreed that because they are already in that area, or they get directions to where they can see that land. And remember, because I told you we were in the same area with big companies who have big names, so we were slightly lower. We are competing with the price. Okay, it's the worst line to compete in this industry. You only compete either with the utility or with the brand. But if you compete with the price, it is you are on the disadvantage side because anybody can be lower than you. Depending, there are those people who they are not buying. Actually, they are subdividing their parents' land, so they can go as low as they would wish. So he called the office. He was directed to where the plots are. He went down there, saw them, write them, and then he promised to come the next day. Unfortunately, he didn't come the next day. He came after the third day. But when he came, he was so happy that even our pricing was okay according to him. And eventually, we agreed on buying 5 plots. And he did a deposit of 2 million. And that gave us a kickback back again. We found we received the right back. And we continue. So it's sometimes you feel excited. And again, what make me more happier, man, it is to go back there. And I see now this client have developed those plots. There is one client who is doing a massive project. So I feel excited, and when I go back there, they identify with me. They actually become my marketers. Hey, he's the one who sold us this plot. So that is how it have been. Quite an exciting journey.
Amazing.
Yes.
Whatever your hands finds to do, whatever God deposit in your heart to do. For Amos, it was like a small billboard. Smaller than the others. Gave you the swing, and now you're in real estate.
Yes.
Mungu no ajabu.
I
tell you. We are talking about, we are unveiling the secrets of land buying in Kenya. Let's go now to the side of the customer.
Yes.
Tell us, which is this negotiation skill that we can use to get the best pricing?
Yes. Somebody who is buying, of course, the reason information is key. I want to begin there. As a buyer, you leverage on information, because information is what you give you the direction of, number one, the current trend of what is happening in the area. Number two, of the future of that area. That means if I have the information of an area, I'll be able to go and look for the best project or the best seller within the area. Number two, also because there is also a huge competition within the area, you identify the right company. Once you identify them, you can also identify the reason behind the project they are doing. And then from there, you can now get to the owner. If you are, okay, we don't say this much, but if you can be able to sit the owner of the company down, you can get the best discount. I'm not saying that now you look for me, because sometimes we delegate to other people. But if you can be able to pin the owner down, you sit down with them, and then you are able to ask for the best. They're able to give you the best, because sometimes how much they bought this project lies with the owner. The value of the project lies with the owner. So we have an information, and so therefore there is the level of maybe a discount
Mhm.
he can be willing to give you. Also, there is a level he cannot go. So I'm not saying in most cases, of course, now you cannot, because we always sell, most of the companies like Choose and Sell, we sell raw, strictly raw, the market price of the area. So again, don't come and pin me so much. But of course, if you're buying at a cash payment, we give discount. If today you are buying our project at Makoyo, Makoyo is around the Keno, going to way to Sagana, and we are selling at 550. So we are able to give you a discount if you're buying at a cash payment. But if you're buying with an installment mode, of course, a person who is buying with that installment, you cannot get a cash discount. You can only get a small premium, because again, the moment you are paying up your project, your plot, this duration between the signing of the agreement and the completion of the payment, your property is still gaining value, because today a client may come, buy cash, and start building immediately. So he's contributing the growth and your investment gaining more value. So that is the reason why you can, if you get the owner, you're able to get it.
You ink a better deal.
Yes.
And now there's land all over this nation.
Yes.
In so many towns and places. How do we identify which is the right place to buy land from that is appreciating on a high rate? For example, nasikia kuna plot ziko na Manga all the way to Makuyu, Nyeri, Eldoret. How can we know this is the right one that is going to appreciate so fast? Because some people, buy land because of it's like an investment to them.
Yes. The reason why I have said to an investor, information is power, even to us, because we are guided with the happening, the trends, and the market of that are happening in this nation. Like today, I want to maybe to identify with an area. Most of people have been investing there. An area called Machakos. Machakos have been affected, let me say 90, if not 100%. Reason why, because of the accessibility. Even the express highway, it is affecting Machakos County, because from we call it from you join is it we call it past Bellevue, that is when you join I guess Machakos, all the way to Murorongo. You are on the express highway. That means somebody who is in at the river, you can be able to catch a flight with no time. You can own a property in that area. You can access Nairobi very easy and very fast, now due to express highway. Something like that can really affect that town in terms of growth, in terms of development, and in the attraction of developers. Another area that is coming up well, it is where I'm telling you, around the dual carriage, the Keno Marua dual carriage, because that area also is growing, rapidly growing, and most of the investors are securing large properties in that area. Why? Because you see today, Eric, if you are looking for 100 acres, it's such a challenge. Yesterday I had a friend who was asking me, can I get 5 acres within Roiro? Not of course not very far from Roiro Center, where I can do a small industry. And imagine I'm not able to get that. And if my viewers who are viewing, you have something like that, of course you can get our number and connect us with or you can reach us to them and tell us what you have. Reason being, we are not able to have such kind of property. So where would such property be found? So it's outside now Ruiro, outside now the town. So the reason why you may want to buy within town, but it will be expensive. So go a little further out of town and you buy a very good project, a very good land investment, and you will see it grow. Because number one, once major roads come on, once the government try to expand, when the town is expanding, it affects all the areas surrounding that town or surrounding that city. Like for instance, we have Ruiro is being affected by the Tatu city, and it's being affected by Northern. So those people who are looking, are planning to invest, think of Roiro, think of Keno, Duo, Marwa, Karit, think of Machakos. Those are areas will give you value on your investment.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
Because again, if I can touch, there are areas where investment grow or property grow within 0.3%, other grow with 1.1%, other 100%. There was a time we had about in the statistic 2012, a land in Nairobi, that is around the Ravington, Keredeshua, grew from 130 million to 189.
Wow.
That is 100% return on your investment. So it is very, very important when you hear we calling, hata ukisikia maguta, brought maguta, don't be carried away by the joke. Also think and ask yourself, where can I invest? Where can I get maximum results, return on my investment?
Wow.
And those are the key areas that I would want you highlight. And also you check us on our website, see what we have. The reason why we are in that place, it is not just because we found ourselves there. It is because we know what is happening and what is the future of that area.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing. Let's get to regulations and also environmental factors that affect this land issue when, especially in purchase.
Yes.
They are especially for plots that are near roads, and sometimes you may buy a plot, then the government comes later and the beacon inaenda nusu ya shamba yako. How do you avoid this falling into this kind of harsh realities of regulations? I also had experiences of where somebody, for example, bought land, but they didn't know from the government that this is riparian land, that you can't build on it. Some of it may be a quarry that has resources that the county government can also lay claim on. How do we navigate through this?
We said at a point you want to buy a property, look for a property advisor. Look for someone who understands the area. Somebody, not necessarily an agent, somebody who is doing real estate, but it would be better if you found one. Na Eric nijipigie. Nijipigie bebe. If you look for, yes, I color myself. If you would want such services, we help. Actually, we help in doing that because we know it is in little things that we do that we make you or we allure you to become our client. So what am I saying? Look for somebody who will guide you. Look for somebody who will walk with you this journey of investment. Some people are clueless of, they want to buy, they have the money, but they don't know anything. They don't know where to start, what to look for, even if they search, what to, the location they want to buy. So some people, we guide them from the point of the location. Because in real estate, I said last time, the difference is between what you can buy and what I will buy. It is buying right. Today, I may go and buy a land in Mombasa, and you can buy a land in Nanyuki. Those two things are very different. Because there is something we call buying right, making sure you identify the area and you identify, because you have to buy a property where you have 24/7 security. You must buy a property in an area where you have a high growth of your return of your investment. So this person will walk this journey. So you have also come back. We say it before you buy, go to the ground. First of all, it is to see. We first buy with our eyes before we buy with our money. So you go on the ground and then make sure you see what is being sold to you. Once you have identified that, make sure you can be able to see the four corner beacons. And I appreciate, it can be seen like not bringing maybe a bigger difference, like what you are doing. All our lands, we are fencing them. Not because we want to fence, not because we have money that is idle and we don't know what to do. We just put up a fence. No, but we are making sure we are, by virtue of fencing, we are putting the boundaries in the right place, because you cannot fence unless you have a surveyor who will make sure where you are putting up that fence, because we don't only fence, we use recognized a person, a surveyor who will come and give us the right dimensions. And once they have identified that this is our land, that this is where it ends, and this is where your neighbor's land begins, that is where we put up our fence. Reason being, we have seen cases where even in recent cases, people demonstrating with placards, or there is demolition of our houses, we are being chased away from our land. It is such kind of issues. Why? Because the person who was maybe who sold that project, he did not make sure he considered the people who are buying, so they did not put the boundaries in place. So maybe they went to other their neighbor's land, or the neighbor came to their place, and so there arises a dispute. So you must make sure if the land it is fenced, it's a tick, well and good. So because you cannot build past that fence, so there is a boundary. So number two, you must have the area of the map. It is good to buy this map, and that is why I said if you have somebody now who will be able to go through with you to make you understand this is the road, this is the road, these are the internal ones, these are the major ones. So once you have gone through and you have understood that map, and you can be able to locate the land, the whole parcel, and again your plot, that will give you more information, and you'll be more wiser than before. Once you do that, then you can be able to know if this is the main road, how wide is it. If today we know there are roads that are 30 meters, 20 meters, it begin with 9, because now a main road does not start at 6, it starts at 9. So then from 9 it goes to 12, from 12 it goes to 20 meters, and again you can do even 30 bedding like what we see on super highway. But the normal ones are about 12 to 20 meters, which is because of maybe the area, because they are class A, class B, class C of roads. So depending with the class of that road, that is, you can be able to see, and from what you can see on the ground, you can be able now to be sure whether it's already done or there will be an expansion. And again, if it's already done, how far are you from now that road? Because there is a space that is left in case of the electricity lines, now we can see also internet cables and other stuff, the sewer lines, they're just passing there. So you can be able to see how far. And if you feel not safe, don't buy the one that is touching the tarmac. If you feel that you are too close, and maybe they are not disclosing maybe the full information why they are too close to the road, you may not buy that. Buy maybe a little bit inside. Another thing, of course, with you going on the ground, you are able to see whether this land is a marsh area, this land because of course the texture of the soil can be able to tell you. The reason why you go to the ground, it's not only just to go and see the beacon, even the texture, the area, the environment. Can this area flood at one given moment? What is the topology of that land? Because there are those people who say, I want a very flat land. Of course, I tell them, also that can be a disaster to you, because
of the flood.
Yes, of the flood. But if there is a small slanting, the best. Also, it will give you a very good design if you are building, you're developing that road. So I would say those are the factors to make sure you check on them.
Thank you so much. That's very beneficial, especially even to the first-time land buyers.
Yes.
It also shows us the red flags that are there, what to look at. Finally, before we get now into the questions of our viewer, because I have quite many and I see we have 20 minutes on this one. What is the danger of buying a plot of land and doing nothing with it?
Yes. Of course, now if you buy a plot and you're doing nothing, of course we say even without doing nothing on the real estate, your land appreciates. because land is always on the upward trajectory. That is assured. You don't lose on land. That is why we say buy and wait. Buy and wait means I buy today, nothing is happening. I wait, I hold on it, and then one day I'll sell it. But what now the government is, of course, trying to tell us, let's avoid keeping our lands idle. Because some of the properties that maybe you have bought or we are selling, they are very prime. You can be getting something out of them. You can start farming. You can lend out that plot. And also, again, you can be able to do what we say, create, make sure you prepare it to be like what we are doing down here. Preparing it to be a ground for the weddings, events, and you will, it is still doubling your investment, because the value, yes, because the moment I will be selling it, I will not be selling it as a bare land. I will still, it will be considered that there is an activity that have already been done on this project. So if you have those plots that are not far from town, from maybe cities, it is good that you started developing them pole. If you don't have the muscle, again, you can let them, somebody comes and do a structure that is not permanent. You can people are doing car wash along the main roads, so that is not a permanent structure. They can be getting money, and you can be getting rent out of that.
Can you expound on this? Because we've seen where disputes arise on a piece of land.
Yes.
In the court document, we see it's like you're required to say, what have you been doing on the land? Was it idle, or have you been developing it? Is there a risk of you losing a piece of property that you owned because it lay idle, you did not do anything with it?
Okay, currently we it have not yet come to that attention.
Okay.
But there is a projection that it is something that can happen, because again, there are people who have very vast land, like masses of land, 1,000, 10,000 of acres that are very idle. And so if those lands can be given to the government, can be lent to people, of course there can be a turnaround on the probably the economy of this nation, the agricultural sector. We can increase the food security of our country. Another thing, because you have said that I remember, if today you buy a plot and there is a small building that you have done there, it gives you an advantage. If you are the one who have built that, just like a small side house, that looks permanent, and then there is a dispute on that land, you have an upper hand more than the person who is claiming that land, but there's a saying they have not developed the land. So I have seen such cases, and so also on the other hand, because people now know that if there is like a small building, like a small structure, so what they happen is at night you said people they go and demolish. So you are at the same level. They destroy your strong point.
Let's go through these questions from our viewers. Number one, besides the title deed, what are the other important documents for land transfer? Among them, which is the most important document?
I would say it's an ID. If you're doing the transfer, because an ID, I told you, identity. It is what identifies you. In every transaction, in your today in bank, they have your ID number. All government sector have your ID number. So ID is very, very important, and that is why you cannot, an under 18 and person who is not of age cannot own a property. They can only be there can only be a trustee. So he can only be under that trustee. So ID is very, very important. So you must have an ID. Of course, there are others like PIN, because now PIN also is another document that is key. Of course, that one it's helping the government to help you at the end, of course, to make sure you pay the tax. But also it's very, very important. The rest now it's that document, the original title of that land.
Someone here, unfortunately,
Yes.
their car was broken into,
Mhm.
and all their documents pertaining the land that they had just purchased
Yes.
were stolen, from the title, the ID, the everything.
Yes.
Zikapotea.
Mhm.
Where do they start?
Now, for that case, that's a very good question. First, they need to go and report. They need to report the case, so that now from that, at that point, they can be able to recover their IDs. That is the first thing, because if somebody get hold of your ID and get hold of your the other personal document, they can mess you up. So they make sure they report. Number one, they will be able to get back maybe a new identity, that is ID. Number two, when it comes to the case of now these titles, where they maybe they were stolen or they were carried away, we begin with going to the chief's office. You report. Chiefs, in most cases, I told you the last time, they know the area and they know the people who probably who bought these lands and when they bought them. So that's the chief of the area will give you a small notice that you take now to an advocate. In a legal office. From the legal office, you get an affidavit claiming of the land, and then once you get that, you are able now to, because you know the title number, or you can be able to have a copy, then you can go and do what we call gazettement. You can gazette that you have lost these titles, whether 5, 1, however the number. So if there is anybody who have them, they can be returned back, or they can be taken maybe to the any authority office. If there is, once you have done that within 2 months, 2 months, you now have the right to get the gazettement, the affidavit, and the note of the chief. You take those documents to the registrar. Now the registrar have the authority to reprint a new title for you.
Wow.
Yes. That is the whole process.
Wow.
So even if you have lost your title, do not fear. That is why I keep saying we are here so that we can enlighten you, and we can also offer such kind of services. We can start somewhere and work with you.
Wow. Amazing. Someone is asking you, how do they confirm the authenticity of a title?
We agreed here. Title, we do the search. We begin by doing the search of this title, this document we call title. Once you have done the search, if you receive your search back, there is a signal that your title somehow is right. Number two, you can go deeper, do a green card search, whereby now in that file, you can be able to know the history of that land, be it from the first owner, the second owner, up to where you are, or at the point you have bought that land. So getting that information will be able to help you. And again, also not stopping there, you go to the ground. You can confirm whether, if you are, if you have the copy, you can have that copy got on the ground. If there is neighbors around, especially the immediate neighbor, if he lives in that land, you can ask them, what is the next number? What is your title deed number? So that if this is what I'm buying, what is your next? Because it need to be the next number. If I'm 001, then you are 002, or that is how that is the way they are supposed to be, because they follow chronologically each other.
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Amazing.
That is how it works.
Wow.
So you can be able to do it that way.
Wow, great.
Thank you.
Someone says, could you comment on the increased foul activities in the land buying process?
Yes.
Is it hence safe to even own a piece of land rather than investing the money elsewhere?
Yes, it is very safe. I began by saying now we have a solution. We began by saying we have a solution, which I called the stakeholders of real estate. Where because and that group have come on board due to such kind of cases. And we have had so many cries, we have heard of so many complaints, and now a solution have come because there is no way we can shut out real estate, because real estate is one arm that can make one wealthy. And it give, and the question you asked me, if it is better to invest, what he is asking, whether I should invest in
something else.
That something else might not give you your return, high value of return of your investment. Because today we are saying a slight difference, a slight change can cause a boom in an area. Let me tell you, even in the case of zoning, zoning will be a blessing to some area, and also it will be a pain to other areas, because an area that was residential that will be changed to be industrial, of course the land in that area will go up. And also an area where it was a residential, now the zoning brought industrial, and now the change brings now the change to residential. Of course the value of the plot now will slightly go down. So with such kind of changes that can happen in the industry, they can either affect positively or affect negatively your investment. But having said that, your investment either affected will not go below your buying price.
Wow.
That is the secret in real estate. If today you buy a plot at 200, what we are saying, Makoyo, if you buy at 550, there is no point, no moment where you will go down and sell it at 300.
Okay.
Because in real estate, we don't go under the value.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing. What is the actions that one should take and or authorities to approach in order to resolve title deeds related issues?
Of course, now we have courts. In Kenya, we always solve our disputes through our courts. We have all manner of courts, even the High Court. If you feel dissatisfied, you can appeal your case. So anytime there is a dispute of land, first of all, it is good to know at what point did the dispute arise. Is it a mistake, your mistake, or the owner's mistake? And then, of course, if it's something that you can be able to solve, you can be able to solve. If, like what you were saying, if it's an issue of boundary and two people are ready to talk out the issue, do it, bring a surveyor, let them do the right thing. And once they have done right, everybody be ready to accept. Okay, I accept. I had maybe go inside your land, and now we need to have the right place, the boundary to be on the right place. If now it's the issue of documentation, of course, somebody defraud you your money, of course now that is you can do there too. There is a criminal case, there is a civil case. Like what now we are doing, there is the legal criminal if they tried to forge the document, and now there is the civil whereby you need your money to be paid back. That is what you cannot get your money but just filing a criminal case. You only they need to go concurrently, so that you can get back your money. People are coerced to pay you. Even you can drop criminal and you just follow up with the civil, and you can be paid back your money.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Amazing. What is a land file reserved by land registry? What is its importance?
Yes.
What does it mean when it is said that the land file is missing?
Yes.
In such case, should one proceed with the land purchase?
In such a case, you don't have to. I don't advise you continue, because you cannot. Number one is to ask yourself, why is the file missing? So that means it's either the land it's not legit, it's either that the land somebody is trying to play some monkey business. So and again, you cannot now have an information about that land. So there is no, you cannot do a search. You cannot even know the history of that land. You cannot know even the owner. The person maybe who is claiming to be the owner might not be the real owner, because there is nowhere to access that information. Because if the file is missing in the registry where those all files are kept, in files are in the registry with the local county. Maps, though they are there, but we buy maps at the surveyors of Kenya. So you at some point you can get a map within the local government, but in most cases you want the originals, we get them at the surveyors of Kenya, which is around 500 or 1,000 depending. Once you have done that, so I would not advise anybody to buy. I would discourage you 100% because you don't know what you're buying. You cannot be assured that is where the land is. So if you have such kind of a signals and alert, run away.
Wow.
Just like
Red flag.
red flag.
Is buying land from individual owners in rural areas better than buying land that are sold by real estate companies and agencies?
Since I'm an agent, yes, I am an agent. I come back carrying myself. I'm almost full. Yes, the reason why I would say it is better I buy from a company. It is because number one, a company will first of all conduct a search before they buy, right? Number two, the reason for them buying that project, it is because of first to an interest and the future they are looking forward of an area. Number three, a company, if today you come to a point whereby a company is able to, number one, a company is able to give you a document, and even the owner will also give you a document. It is true, but there are costs that the company have already invested their money, so they have done everything possible to make sure this land is there, it is legit, and it is good for investment. Another thing, there are costs that are within the processing, where we call the processing fees. There are companies where they have their own legal advocates, whereby you don't at no point you can how would I put this? I mean, these companies, they have invested so much in their securing their property and investment. So at that point, you are part of that covering, whereby you can walk back to this company and ask maybe for a mutation, because they have their own surveyors. You can go back, ask for a map. You can go back, ask for maybe a replacement of a beacon. But an owner might not have all these resources with him. So what all they will do, you will go to the land, they will show you the land, they will call the surveyor, come subdivide, and then that will be that. You cannot go back there. Number two, there are cases where you buy a man sells a family land, and they did not inform
the family members.
And once you are coming to develop, vijana wanasema hauwezi ingia hapa. Hatukuuza.
In 1 minute, on these both questions, in 1 minute, as we come to the conclusion, how do you check if the serial is original, and why does the green card reflect days after the land transfer?
Of course, now this is the issue of when it comes to the serial. Serial, we do not have double serials. Every title deed have its own serial number. So if a title is original, you cannot have a duplicate of another serial, another title deed bearing that serial number. So that is one. So if you found that the serial number is not corresponding with your search, of course that is a red flag. Another thing, lands, sometimes people buy land, and even before they have developed it, they sell it. So that is where sometimes the green cards might not say immediately, but we make sure if you're buying, if like a company have subdivided, once they have already subdivided the land, there is a cash process that goes on in between. Because once you have bought this land, once you have done the subdivision, there is the amendment of even of the maps inside the registry. So that process to happen, so it have to reflect both on the file, which is on the green card, and also on the ground. So that when I do the search, I don't see just a block, but I see a property that is already subdivided.
Wow. Wow, thank you so much. That brings us to the episode of Unveiling the Secrets of Real Estate Land Buying in Kenya.
Yes.
And I hope with that, all your questions whatsoever about land buying, either you're a first-time buyer or you're looking forward to increase your investment, either uko Kenya ama uko abroad, I think that is sufficient knowledge that you need for you to be a landowner in Kenya and even resolve conflicts in case that they are there. Thank you so much for coming in. Your phone number quickly.
07, our phone number is 0711 979797. We are located at Ruiru, Doctor's Plaza, opposite Cooperative Bank. Any land issue, if you're first time investor, talk to us through that number, and again we will help you. If you want to buy, we have projects that we can take you through, and maybe they will fit your goal.
Wow, thank you so much, Amos, for coming in today. Tunashukuru Mungu sana because of the day and the time and the sufficient and the knowledge indeed that he has a vast amount of knowledge that is in God concerning so many things, and one of the deposit that he has poured into Amos and we have received today. We thank God for the grace. Tunashukuru sana. Special appreciation goes to Bishop Dr. Thomas Mothe and Reverend Phyllis Mothe. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, thank you for your prayers. Tunashukuru, tunasema ni asante. Thank you, thank you. I want to thank the people producing the Uchao Don't Break Show. We have Peter Maura, Elvis Sifuna, and Doreen Mwende. Mungu abariki sana. Together with the entire Prayer Cave TV staff, your labors in the Lord are not in vain. And to you, our viewer, we love you, we appreciate you, and we pray for you every day. God richly bless you and do you good.